Welcome to True Blue Podcast, a podcast launched by Blue Devil Network and Duke Athletics to shed light on what makes student athletes human. This is our second episode of the semester. We're so excited that our guest is Maggie Graham, the legendary goal scorer and human being from Duke Women's Soccer. Welcome, Maggie.
Thanks.
So let's start off the jump. You grew up in Atlanta. What was that experience like?
It was an experience. I think I grew up in like a huge soccer town. Like my club team was like the biggest thing around me. And then my high school team was all my club teammates. So it was kind of just a soccer world like in everything. But like at a young age, you play like little hatters where you get like your special little shirts and your shorts and it's this whole deal. And you play like on a little tiny field with baby goals. And then you just keep going up and there's like gold, navy, silver, and like before practice they're like, okay, get in your line for this weekend, because like send an email out that's like, you're on gold or you're on navy or you're on silver, and you get in your little lines and like, okay, well, gold you're gonna practice over here, navy you'll practice over here. It's all these weird, like it's just such a weird environment because it was just so intense, because the people putting their kids into Tophat or into the program like wanted them to be successful in soccer, so it was just a lot of pressure for like the people who were coaching and the kids and the parents to make something happen. And then I think another big part that's more recent, but like Atlanta United just became a huge thing, like the MLS team. And I think that's become this huge hub of like, oh, Atlanta's a soccer area and we love soccer. And now these people really support it on like a professional level too, as well as for like their kids. And I think that adds the idea that like if you're in Atlanta and you're playing soccer, like you better be successful.
Maggie, you're quite good at soccer. Came from a very soccer background, as you add. When did recruiting pick up for you?
I wasn't great at soccer until I was probably like—
I don't believe that.
No, oh, that was bad. Probably summer going into freshman year of high school was when I like probably like figured out my thing or like got good enough at soccer that like people were like, okay, yeah, you should do this. And my freshman year was like the big recruiting year. And then that's when like people my age were starting to commit and stuff like that, so it was all the drama with that. But then my sophomore year was when I verbally committed to come here.
Why Duke?
Definitely just, I mean, it's the basic answer, but the combination of like athletics and academics. But I also, from a really young age, like you can find pictures of me when I was like 7 in like Duke gear. Like for some reason.
We're gonna definitely have to pull this up.
Like for some reason, my dad was deciding between Duke and Cornell for college, so I think he has like a little instinct of like pushed it on me, and I was very much just like, oh, this is awesome. There's a picture of me like under the K-ville sign, like at 7, like crossed legs, like, wee.
Baby Maggie.
Yeah, but like I think from a little age I want to do this, and then Delaney came, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this, because I want to go with Delaney?
You can't do what your older sister does.
Exactly.
No way.
Why would I do that? So I was like, okay, maybe I won't. But then I was like, I just can't not. So then I was like, okay, Duke's where I should be.
You talk about your dad, you talk about Delaney. Family's super important to you. I always see your dad on the sideline, yelling, screaming, the whole bit. What does family mean to you?
It's huge. Like my family is so close, and everyone always like laughs that my parents are at every single game, whether it's here, whether it's in California, like wherever it is, like they're there. And my dad is the biggest soccer dad you'll ever meet. He's like a stagecoach. Like he's watching the other ACC games and texting me like blank beat blank. I'm like, I wasn't even watching that game. Like, why are you watching that game? But yeah, he's super into it. And then having played with my sister and just having her be a soccer person too, I think our family just became so engulfed in soccer that it was almost like our little world where we all could talk about it and everyone knew what we were talking about and everything like that. But yeah, my parents being at every game means the world to me, and I love having them there.
Absolutely. Another way that soccer has brought your family together, Delaney, your iconic older sister. You played for 3 seasons with her. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, like I said, like at first I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to go to a school where my sister is, not because I didn't love her, but because I kind of wanted to be my own person. And you know, if you go somewhere with your sister, it's like, oh, she's Delaney's sister, because Delaney was her first, that's valid. So I was a little nervous about that, but I think, like I said, like Duke was the place for me, and getting here and being with her, I think made our relationship like so much stronger. It just made us like rely on one another, especially on the field, off the field. It gives you that like my team is like a family, but having like a blood relative on it gives you that link of like they're always gonna understand when you're a little bit off, when you're really happy, all those little moments. So that was super nice, like feeling emotionally supported by having her here. And then like soccer-wise, I think I just know her so well that it was so easy to play with her. Like I knew her skills, I knew her things that she wasn't great at, she knew the same with me, so we just connected on a level that I don't think anyone else did. So even when she left, like what was it, my senior year when she was gone, like I would play balls that like I was used to playing to Delaney, and it would like not work because it wasn't Delaney anymore. Like those little things that I was so used to that like it wasn't her anymore, so it was different. But when she was here, it like worked perfectly. Like I could kick the ball like 90 miles per hour, and I know she'd get there because she was so fast. So
and
like
if she
stuff
did,
like that.
it would be a problem.
Exactly. I was like, then get there. Like exactly.
You and Delaney were 3 years apart, no crossover in club, came to Duke, and that changed. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I think being 3 years apart like feels like a bigger gap than you ever think it is, but I think we just had very different high school experiences as well. So I think, and even in club, I had like a really strong relationship with my club team. She didn't love her club team, so she was super excited for college. I was like, oh no, I don't want to leave my club friends. But then when we got here, it was kind of that sense of when you get on the field, like there's seniors, now there's fifth years to freshmen, and you kind of all got to play together and act like you're the same and you're the same age and you know all the same things, you've had the same experiences. And I think that was like a weird link where we kind of just related more to each other. We're like, oh, we're doing this together, we're on the same field, we're doing the same things, that we felt more connected to each other.
One of my favorite memories freshman and sophomore year were watching you two play together. You guys had bright cleats. It was magnetic and it was really, really special. How did you fill in that role that she once had?
Yeah, I definitely think from like her freshman year, like she was making like a huge impact on the team, and I think when I was coming in, I just wanted to do the same in my own way. Like we played different positions, which was nice, but I think now that she's gone, she was always kind of like the workhorse of the team. Like she was just purely athletic, and I think she was always just doing the extra running that everyone else might not want to do or could do. And I think when she left, that was kind of my like focus of like, okay, I'll fill that role because I know I can, and then hopefully I can bring what I have that Delaney maybe didn't or wasn't as great at and stuff like that. So that was kind of where my brain was.
When she left, you were entering your senior year, and now you were in your fifth year. A lot of athletes today struggle with that extra year of eligibility. How did you decide to come back?
I struggled a lot with it, especially after last year with the season that we did have. Like, I think it was a little bit just heartbreaking and shocking that like none of us thought we would go from being like an Elite Eight team to not making the ACC or NCAA tournament. And I think my whole class, because all 6 of us had our 5th year of eligibility because of COVID, we were all like, oh my God, we're done in October, which we had never experienced before because our first 3 years we made the Elite Eight. That we were like, oh my, like what do we do? And I think a lot of us going into the season had very different plans than we ended up doing. And I think just sitting down with myself, with my family, with people that are super close to me, and like I genuinely made like an Excel sheet of like, there's this, yeah, I was like, there's this option, there's these 3 options within this option. And I like made things red and green. And then I was just like, okay, like this might look scary, but like that's where I should be. And like with Duke, I was like, I know the good, the bad, and the evil, and I've experienced what I think is the evil, like having a year that was so terrible, and I still loved everyone around me. I loved the environment. I loved it here, that I was like, if I'm gonna experience the worst case scenario, I'd wanna be here. And if I'm experiencing the best case scenario, I'd wanna be here. And that's kind of how I made the decision.
With this decision to come back, you were having one of the most successful years individually and team-wise, ranked #1 in the country right now. Tell me about the development of you and the team.
I guess I'll start with the team first. I think even just I think it was November, by the time last year when we were out of the tournament, we started prepping for this year. Like we were training, we were doing stuff. Like, it was the most intense 2 months before break and then spring season that I've ever been a part of here. And I think that is a huge factor in why we're doing as well as we are now. And I think another thing is just the collective buy-in that the team did, especially during the spring, and that we have now of, we almost have a chip on our shoulder of like, we do not want what happened last year to ever happen again. We want like the opposite of like this success and the winning and the national championship. Like we want that so badly that it's like almost like we won't let ourselves not get it. Like the only thing I can think of is when we were playing Cal, we went down 1-0, which was like the first time we had, I think, trailed the whole season besides Ohio State, our first game of the season. And the whole team was like, we're not worried. We're going to win this game. Like, we won't lose. We won't let ourselves lose. And I think that's just a way different mentality than we had last year. And I do think last year we were suffering because it was one punch in the face after another.
Right.
But I think now it's almost like, okay, like we have a fight that we're not letting go no matter if things go south or go wrong. And I think that's like so influential in how we're doing so well.
What is the culture of Duke women's soccer right now?
It's a family. I mean it in everything I say, like every single person on the field, off the field, whatever our role is on the team, like cares so deeply about the success of the program, not just like individual successes, but we get so excited for individual successes. Like the support that we give each other, like the example I can think of is Julia, a girl on my team, scored her first goal last game, and we all went nuts. And like, it was the best, it's like one of those things like, normally I feel like when you're on a team, it's like, oh, I want to be the person that scores. But it's like, you don't care who scores as long as someone scores and it's someone you love that's doing it and you're so excited for them. And I think it's like, no one on my team is worried about those personal accolades right now. Everyone just wants to win and do well. And if that means you help us win, awesome. But it's not like for you, it's for everybody else. And I think we all just love each other so much because of that, as well as we're like so close off the field. Like, we make a joke, like none of us have friends outside of the team. We do, but like it's just a joke. And then whenever we get the chance, we hang out, even though we were just together for 6 hours in the locker room or 6 hours for pregame. So it's just like, we're all just, I guess, obsessed with each other. It's stupid, but it's just how it is.
I feel like that's a very similar environment with a lot of Duke teams here. And also, even though your sister left, as you just shared, you found that sisterhood within Duke women's soccer. Yeah. How special is that? Maggie, your goal versus North Carolina, tell me about it.
I mean, I will say like that was probably my favorite moment of this year so far. I mean, we've had some great moments, but for me personally, that feeling of scoring on Carolina just meant the world. And I think I've had some experiences with North Carolina, and it just felt like almost like a full circle moment. Like I've developed and I made it here and I can do this. And I think for me that was just so great. And then just to see the reaction of my teammates, like especially Mia, seeing her scream in my face, like that just makes me so happy to see everyone so happy. And like after the game, we're all jumping around and screaming. Like that's just so great. And like winning feels so good. And I think that was one of our first big wins following our year, the previous year, and it just felt right.
Walk me through that play. I know it was the first half. It was like 30 seconds left of that half, and Cameron Roller had the ball. She found you. Tell me about this play.
Yeah, Cam can really hit the ball over the back line. Like I know that she can do that, and she's kind of connected that pass with me a couple times in other games too. And I think I was like, all right, we got a minute left, like we might as well go forward. And I think I like screamed for it over the top, made the run, and then luckily it bounced weird, and Mia kind of like shouldered it to me, and it landed at my feet, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like I got to make something out of this. And I was like, just stay. I remember in my brain I was like, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. And then I was like, okay, just pass it. And I like got the ball off my foot, and then I was like, oh my God, it went in. And I was just like, ah! So I was just like, oh, it was just one of those moments. I was
Chills
like,
all over. Your first time scoring versus UNC, and Duke women's soccer first time beating them at home in history. What did that feel like?
It was amazing. We also all didn't know until
That's the best part.
We didn't know until after, like in the huddle with Robbie, and he's just so happy. Like there's a video too of him just like after the game like this. That's just like so great because for him, like last time playing them at home, like we beat them at home is awesome. And I think all of us were just like, oh my God, we had no idea, but that's so cool and like feels so good. So that was kind of the feeling.
After this play, and even before that, Maggie, you're on every team's scouting report right now. Absolutely electric. Why do you love goal scoring, and why do you love being a forward?
I think it's just the formation we're playing this year kind of puts me in a position where I'm closer to goal and can hopefully impact the scoreline. But one of my main focuses over the summer was working on being a goal scorer, at least like putting away opportunities when I get them. And I think focusing on that over the summer and really like honing in on it has made it so that when I get those opportunities in games, I feel a lot more confident because I think in the past at Duke, in my past seasons, I just haven't felt like I'm supposed to score. So when I get in those moments, I freak out because I'm like, oh, why am I here? And I think this year I just had more of a mentality of like, if you're going to play up there, you got to be a goal scorer, so make it happen. And I think that's just made me want to score as well as hopefully get the ball in the back of the net when I get opportunities from my teammates setting me up.
Obviously, the work that you did over offseason has, I would say, helped. You have 9 goals in the season right now, Maggie. What makes a good goal scorer?
I would say like there's a combo. It's a lot of confidence. I think I've developed confidence as I've gotten older. Like I can say freshman year Maggie was terrified and didn't want to do anything on the field or even in practice. But I think as you get older, you get that sense of comfortability, confidence, you know your team believes in you, you believe in you, your coaching staff believes in you. I think that plays a big role in actually doing the things that help you score. And then I think another part of it is just like formations and people around you. I think this year I have the most talented team around me that sets me up for tap-ins. Like half my goals have been tap-ins, and I think that's because of the people that are around me and knowing how to play with different people, knowing what they like, knowing what they do. And I think that comes with just that kind of team chemistry that we've touched on of like we know each other so well that like when I know Mo's gonna get on the ball, she's gonna cut in, she's gonna shoot with her left foot, or Ella's gonna like get to the end line and cross it back. Like those little things, so I know where to be based off of those different things.
Let's talk about your goal song and your signature Maggie Graham celebration. More of like this. How did this come to be?
I honestly don't know. And everyone on my team keeps making fun of me because they're like, you're so serious when you score.
Why?
They're like, why? I
don't think it's serious. I think it's like passionate. Like I'll never forget you scoring versus UNC and like
screaming.
We'll have to like play this in the background if we can.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous.
Yeah, like I don't know what, or like against Stanford, all my celebrations were like pointing up. I don't know where that came from. That's like never been a thing. So I just don't.
Mind you, to any listeners, she scored 3 goals versus Stanford, one of the best programs in the country. Casual hat trick plug.
But yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, Hannah on our team is always like, you look so serious. So we're all like jumping up and down and cheering, and you're just like screaming or pointing or doing whatever. She's like, it's just so funny. But I don't know where that came from. I think maybe before, this might add to the goal scoring idea, but before when I would score like freshman, sophomore, junior year, it was like a shock. So when I'd be like, oh my God, and I'd be so excited. I think now I like really just, I want and I feel like I need to score. And I think when that happens, I'm like, all right, I did it. Not like shocked, if that makes sense.
No, that makes so much sense. We talk about Robbie Church. He's like the image of Duke athletics right now, I feel. It is his last season with Duke women's soccer. What is the impact that he has had on you as a player?
It's huge. I think just overall the impact he's had on women's soccer and on Duke women's soccer is crazy. Like we had an alumni event the other day, and it was just alumni standing up and telling Robbie stories or telling how much he means to them and all these different things. And it just shows that he's developed great people as well as great soccer players, and he cares about players as people. And I think that's so important with a coach because it's so easy to turn college soccer into like a job and like a career almost, that people like lose sight of like the people who are doing it are real and they struggle with stuff, and soccer is not their only life. And I think he is so big on like making sure you're okay in soccer and outside of it, that he becomes this like, as much as we joke about it, he's like a dad figure of like, he cares about you and he wants you to succeed. He wants his program to succeed, of course, but he's not going to do that at the cost of the people on the team. And I think that's showed me like how important it is to have a great relationship with your coach and know how much they can give you and you can give them, that it's just helped me immensely in like finding good relationships with other people who I know will give it back to me in the same way, if that makes sense.
He's a legend in the Duke athletics landscape along with women's soccer in general. I love seeing all the memorabilia that has been passed on and created, like you just said, like the hats, the collages on the shirts. It's special. It really is. What does Duke soccer mean to you?
Everything, probably. I mean, as stupid as that sounds, like Duke soccer has been my identity for 5 years now, and I think it just, I guess it's stupid, but I bleed blue. Like I want this team after I'm gone to win every game they ever play, and I won't even be on the team. Like, cause I just need Duke to succeed. I want them to succeed, and I want the girls that I love that are still on the team to succeed. So I think it's just become like, I think if anyone who goes here, you know it, like you love Duke and you love everything Duke. You want every team Duke to do great, and I think that just adds to your fire for your own personal team of like, you want them to always be great.
Okay, Maggie, the dreaded question. Future plans. What are we thinking? What is next for you?
Definitely a loaded question. I think had I asked myself that last year, I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go be a successful adult and like move on. And I think now there's more of a bit of a question of, oh, maybe I might not move on from soccer, but who knows? I still don't know. But I do think I'm really excited for what the future holds inside and outside of soccer, especially with the end of this season and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely unknown, but exciting.
I'm so excited for you. If you have one fan, it's me. You have been an amazing second guest of this semester on True Blue Podcast. You were so well spoken. You were such an incredible person, player. You have the full package, seriously. And I cannot wait to continue to watch you and your team thrive this year. Thank you so much, Maggie.
Thank you.